Okay, this is a little crazy, but I'm going to show you what I think is proof that I am not alone here in this room when I'm filming. I mean, except for that crowd. Anyway, like, y'all have to see this. Well, hello, my spooky friends. Yeah, like, okay, let me address this because you all ask. You're so invested in them. Miss Scullett was feeling like she could be on camera tonight. Her hair is a little messy, and I'm not asking any questions. I'm just saying. But yes, the happy couple, they're still back there. But that's not really I'm used to them. But let me tell you something. I had a paranormal video, a couple of videos, and I know from time to time you people say they see orbs, or there's sometimes something that goes by so fast it looks like a bug. But let me tell you that I am sitting right here and there are no bugs. Like, I tell you, you can see when I'm scratching or whatever that there's a gnat or some kind of something. There's nothing here, okay? I see bugs if they're there when I'm filming. But that's not what this is. This is so crazy because it happened when I was editing and I never knew anything happened. So let me explain what I'm going to show you, okay? Before we get into the stories tonight, this is my true ghost story. Now, I use an editing app called CapCut. And so when I show you this, you're going to see my face on what is it going to be on the right side? And on the left, you're going to see words and where some of them are stricken out. Now, what happens when I edit is that every time I take a breath and I just like space out, I'm saying something and I'm like, or I make a lot of mistakes and I get lost in what I'm reading. All these kind of things I can edit out using what this app does is gives me a transcript. And so the transcript that you'll see is on the left, and I just take out all of these little stupid things that you don't want to see. Now, it gives me the actual words. But what I'm going to show you in these videos is when I tell you how sensitive this is, it catches every breath. When I say, even if I do it softly, like, whatever, it captures every sound. Now, what you're going to see in the video is when I went back to edit, and one of these videos is may have been for my crime channel. I don't even know. First of all, I'm going to call Scully out because if it's Scully's voice that is picking up on here, he was rude the first time. But you're going to see what the microphone picked up and actually transcribed that I wasn't speaking at the time, okay? I was completely silent. Let me show you. If you can tell what I'm talking about, all right? Curiosity peaked. Now, I'm up here just so I can get sound. I'm up here in this little tiny dot. This is me I don't know if I'm talking over myself. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. This is the one where I guess Scully was kind of nice. But if you look, this is looped. It's playing over and over.
He smiled that
But I was
knowing
reading a
smile of
story,
his and said,
and you can see where the lines are
Curiosity
sticking out,
peaked.
things that were just pauses or whatever. And down at the bottom, I'm reading the words, "What flowers, Reverend?" I asked.
He
my
smiled that
curiosity
knowing
peaked.
smile of his
Now,
and said,
I don't know if you can see it, but there
Curiosity
is,
peaked.
I don't know what happened, but there's a 8.30 seconds that I spaced out. And then on the other side, you see what happened. I don't know if y'all are hearing this or not. I'm going to stop this loop. Okay, you see the pause here where the blue thing is. That's what I deleted. And then you see where it's already stricken out on the other side. And I videoed this so you could see that while I'm talking, there's 8 seconds of a pause. And then there's the words, "What happened?" But I wasn't speaking. I might have to slow this down for you. I'm sorry. But you'll notice when it says "what happened," When it says what happened, I'm not saying a word, nor did I ever say those words.
He smiled that knowing smile of his and
Okay?
said,
And it looks like a cut because of
curiosity
where I
piqued.
did cut out the where I cut out the other pause. What's weird though is I'm sitting here and I'm editing my own video and I'm like, I've got a pause, the words what happened, another pause that I eventually took both pauses out, and there is literally no sound. And I'm watching and I'm reading a story. And why would I ask what happened? But somebody in this room asked what happened. I'm not sure if it was Scully or Miss Scarlett O'Hara or if it was something else. But now let me show you one where whatever is extremely rude and I can't even say these words. So let me show you.
Curiosity.
Now in this one, I could show
So
you just
you
the
all have
transcript, but I
been
wanted you to see that I am talking. Like I want you to see that I am live talking and what I'm saying. So let me go back over here. And I don't know if you can see this, but in the beginning, okay, this is this section. That blue line is where I'm going from one section of the video to another, and it will tell me how many seconds, if I have a pause there or whatever. So there's a big pause, and I probably didn't delete it because it probably had to do with the last section. And then I'm saying nothing. I'll watch it again, and the first words on here, and then there's another pause, and then I start talking. So watch where I'm not talking. And look, something tells me to, let me put it nicely, F off. Can y'all see that? I don't know. And the reason, like I said, it's not blown up is because I wanted you to see that I am actually not talking. This is me editing the little thing going around. See that where it's going? Did you see that? Let me back it up just a little bit. When I'm fluffing my hair, I'm getting ready to say anything, and I'm not saying anything though. See, here's the fluff. And as you see the fluff going on, you see where the blue dot has moved? Okay. Right here. Right here where the blue dot is where it's telling me to F off. And I am literally not saying, you see my mouth is closed. And then I'm going to play it again. You see I fluff. Oh, this is going on. And you see this, the pause. Now
So
I start
you all
talking. You
have
can see my
been
mouth moving and you see the words. I hope this isn't too complicated. Like, the only way I could prove it is to show you in the editing. And I don't know if you can tell, if you want just the words, but anyway, that is so crazy, y'all. And it's happened a couple of times. Now, what you will find funny is you know how it translated. One day, last week, Sachi was up here and she was really, really meowing. She would not leave me alone. I'm trying to film. I don't know what she wanted. She had been fed. Who knows? But she wanted attention. And so she was coming around and around this, my computer, and she's just going meow, meow. And the way the translator took that, because it was breaking in my video while I was pausing, one of the times that it caught and put words to her was, I love you. And I was like, oh, can AI really translate what a cat is saying? It says, I love you. And then the second time I had it, it was good night. And I was clearly not saying anything, but all you could hear on the microphone was her yowling. Okay, I know. That's a long time of this video. I just thought it was so crazy, and it's spooky season, so I really wanted to show you stuff that goes on around here, okay? All right, let's get into the stories. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you could understand it. Y'all are brilliant. I'm not saying that. It's just if you're not an editor, you might not be used to that screen. But let's get into the spooky stories and leave the lovebirds over there to do whatever they're going to do. This is by Enzia Gold. In 1998, my uncle Chucky had a grand mal seizure. When he came into the hospital, he said, "We have to go to Newport. Uncle Eddie passed away." The family was astonished and taken aback because they were trying to figure out how to break the news. After the funeral, my brother developed his film, and there was a big golden orb at his grave. I still have a copy of the photo. I would love to see the photo. By the way, I've got several photos and stuff that people have sent me. And maybe the next live I do, I'll show you that so we can all talk about it together. Remember Jeff and his train? Still going to show that. And then we've got some other pictures. I just think they're interesting, and I think it'd be great for a live discussion. Anyway, thank you, Enzia Gold. So I wonder if the seizure had anything to do with your Uncle Chucky, like having the veil thinned. I don't know. It's weird. What do y'all think? Okay, this one is by Dear Heart Rose Quartz, and this is a kind of a premonition. All right. She says, "Costumes. Yes, I can't wait to see." Look, I would have done a costume tonight, but I just ran out of time. Maybe I'm going to try to do more the next week. I'm sorry. Some of them are very complicated. I had a premonition that my grandson, 3 years old at the time, was abandoned, alone, scared, hungry, and had a full diaper for too long. A couple of days later, his bio dad was supposed to be watching him while my daughter was working. He put my grandson in his room, then went to sleep in the next room. My daughter got home to the kid screaming hysterically, hungry, full diaper, and all the rest. I wish the premonitions came with instructions on how to keep these things from coming true. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? It hurt my feelings so bad to not be able to protect the kid from this bad stuff. Share is okay. That's the one thing about premonitions, though. They're helpful, but can you really stop it? Sometimes, maybe, but I don't know if I would call that a premonition as much as I would call it just a knowing, like you know what is going on somewhere else. Sort of similar, sort of different. All right, you all had some more things to say. And this one is by Mary Sunshine 872. Must be a mother thing. My mom always knows. I know some of it is due to her having spies. She called me when Dad was driving myself and my younger sister home after visiting her at work. She was panicking and wanted to know where we were. Our car was hit right as I was telling her exactly where we were. I also have dreams during disasters in other parts of the world. One thing I was told was that healers and lightworkers' spirits travel to those events to help with what they can. That's very interesting. I wonder how people do help in those situations. But it's crazy. Again, I would kind of say that is a knowing because all of a sudden you know something is wrong. A premonition, I think, to me is more like a dream or something like you have a vision of something that hasn't happened yet and maybe doesn't happen for a couple of days, a week, whatever. You just, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? And here's another one by Susie Ashby. I had a screenshot one time. Okay, so that's like a premonition, like just you have a picture in your mind. Labor Day weekend 2018 ish. My girlfriend was on her husband's motorcycle. I had an intuition that she got into an accident. I reached out to her that week after. I was sure right. They barely missed a semi. My mom and I have this gift. This is important. It's good to have friends that can warn you of stuff like that. Crazy though, right? Again, it shows a lot of connectedness between all of us. Now, I love this story. This is by James Brunk. And I'm not sure what you're talking about at the beginning of this, James, but this is what I get for posting before I hear the whole thing. We adopted two girls back in August of 1999. In May, before we even knew about the girls, I came home late one evening and sat down at the dining room table to eat dinner. I looked up to see a blonde girl in a white nightdress crawling on the floor through our living room. I was astounded when we first heard about the girls in July and met them. The youngest was that girl I had seen crawling through our living room. I love that story because I don't know. I mean, I guess the first thing you'd think is, oh, it's a ghost. But no, it was like a future event of you just having that premonition or that knowing that this was going to happen for y'all. I think that is so cool. Thanks so much for sending it in. Now, this one isn't a premonition. This is kind of a weird what the heck? And I'm all about what the heck. When this comes from Nancy, when I was 12 or so, my family visited Massachusetts to do all the touristy things. We stopped at a restaurant on the water and we all ordered seafood. There were a total of 6 of us, yet the waitress took nothing down. Oh, I'd never be able to remember an order for sure. My dad, who had a dry and sometimes sarcastic sense of humor, asked the waitress if she was a witch. Y'all, if you don't get the reference, Massachusetts, like Salem, okay. She was not amused. When the food came to the table, my dad put his fork in his stuffed lobster tail and pulled out a brush full of human hair. Oh, needless to say, he sent it back, and I'm not even sure if any of us ate our food. Scary. Yeah. She must have been really upset. I guess she just put her own hair in there. I don't know. I hope it was her hair. Ugh, that's disgusting. But I thought I'd throw that story in for spooky season. Be careful if you go to Massachusetts. They probably get this a lot though. Like, don't be asking people if they're witches just because they live in Massachusetts or Salem or whatever. Lesson learned. Okay, we have time for one more. And this is a cool story by Roberta Rael. Now, look, I wish this had happened to me. When I met my husband, I felt he was the one. About a week later, I was having lunch with a friend at a Chinese restaurant. My fortune cookie said, "You just met the person you will marry." Huh. We've been married 39 years this November. Congratulations. When I was trying to conceive, I opened another fortune cookie that said, "My most desired wish will come true." Aw, our daughter is 35. Does anybody else read fortune cookies? Like, I remember this is a long, long time ago. I was living in another state. I was actually in North Carolina, and we went out to a new Chinese restaurant. I love fortune cookies if they're fresh. I think they're good. So, of course, I broke open the cookie and I got this message, and it really freaked me out. It said, "You will soon be crossing the Great River." And I was like, "Oh my God, it's telling me I'm going to die." Like, that's the way I interpreted that. "You're crossing the Great River." And everybody at the table's like, "No, no." I'm like, "Look, I don't like this fortune cookie." So fast forward to maybe just, I don't know, a month or two. I went on vacation. I came to Alabama, where I live now, visiting friends. We crossed the Tennessee River, and I want to tell you something. It was a really weird, sometimes horrific set of events, but I literally did not leave from vacation because things were just, I had to stay. And my friend was in serious trouble. And so I only went back to North Carolina to pack my stuff up, and I rented a U-Haul and I drug it all back down here. And so I did indeed cross that great river. Of course, it didn't mean death. So it doesn't always mean bad things, y'all. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed seeing Miss Skullet again. And if you have questions about that whole video thing, like, look, probably some of you are going to be debunking it. But here's the thing. I have been using CapCut for about 2 years at least. And probably I have used that transcript app for about 6 months now. I have never, ever, ever had something like that happen where other voices come up on my transcript, other words other than what I said. So I know personally it is bizarre and weird. And who the heck is talking? Come to think of it, I don't think this happened before Miss O'Hara showed up. Is it you, Skullet? Well, you were rude the first time, I'm just saying. Anyway, I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the week, and I will see you soon. Whatever you do, stay spooky. Bye bye.